finally. We
Seriously.
got together, right? The last time I
Yeah,
canceled, so sorry about that.
that's all right. It's funny because my husband got this iPad that he's going to be using for his real estate business.
Uh-huh.
And he was down here and I'm like, honey, I have the podcast. He's like, what? I was like, I know, I forgot about it. So he was trying to get it started and he was been on the phone with AT&T literally, or
Mhm.
Apple, I don't even know who, for about an hour and a half. So
Yeah.
I was
It's
like, I need the space downstairs.
it gets like that because so my wife is in nursing school right now, and it's like that too.
Oh, okay.
Sometimes like we're in the same areas, and I'm like, oh, I got a show to do. She's like, really? I was like, yeah. Can you give me
Aw.
like 30-40 minutes?
And she's like, no, I really don't have that kind of time. Yeah, nursing
Yeah,
school's rough. It's
yeah.
it's really rough.
Yeah. I guess it can be. I'm not in it, but I kind of I get her vibes, like as she's like studying and everything. So
Yeah.
how is it? So you're located where?
In New Jersey.
New Jersey. So you guys, so initially when everything started, like in New York and everything was like a huge area for COVID, how in surrounding areas, how is it in New Jersey now?
Well, right now, the cases are rising.
Mhm.
There's a lot of nurses that are members in my gym, and they're saying that they're not really seeing a lot of patients.
Mhm.
But they're definitely seeing some starting to trickle in. They're not seeing what we were seeing in the spring, where there were so many people hospitalized, which is
Right.
great. That just means that, they probably know a little bit more about the virus now since it's been so long, but
Sure.
that's really what's going on. And, they did a curfew where now businesses have to close after 10 p.m. They can no longer like do indoor dining.
Mhm.
And some towns, they've given the towns the ability to decide whether or not they want to shut down their businesses, or want to put some curfews in place, which I also think it's better than shutting down the entire state, which is what happened in the spring, which was horrendous,
Sure.
to
Yeah.
say the least.
I was kind of curious. So, like, tell me a little bit about yourself. So, as far as like your business is concerned. So, you're a personal trainer? You own your own gym or like training
Right.
facility? Can you kind of tell me about that?
Yeah. So last year in the winter, my partner and I, who I known for about 4.5 years now, we used to work out in a different gym together. He was actually my coach,
Hmm.
and phenomenal guy. Very young too. He's in his like right now he's a 26,
Oh
2020.
yeah.
No, actually he's
Wow.
28 right now. Look at this. He's so young and very well-rounded fella, I would say, for his age. Very grounded. Um, so we decided to open up a CrossFit gym,
Hmm.
and that's kind of like how it was a little bit involved. There was a lot of stuff that went into play to that, but for the most part, it's something that it's absolutely amazing. So yeah, I train there in the gym, and I also coach there in the gym,
Hmm.
and he does as well. He does all the programming for the gym.
I got you.
Yeah, everybody kind of loves that.
So why CrossFit? Have you had experience in CrossFit in the past, or is it just something that like are you just athletic and you just picked up CrossFit, yeah, in the process of opening up this gym?
Well, what happened is I've always been into fitness ever since, my brother, he's about 11 years older than me. Um, he's always into bodybuilding, and I remember being young, he was always flexing his muscles, and I'd be like, you're so disgusting. Like, what are you doing? Like, put those things, put a shirt on. Nobody wants to see this, and he would do it on purpose, or he would flex his pecs. It was just,
That's
like,
funny.
just
That's
stop.
hilarious.
Right. So I've always kind of been into it. So then I'm on Facebook and I see this ad show up for this boot camp class. I had no idea what CrossFit was, by the way.
Hmm.
So I was training at a local gym, and I had a trainer who was a bodybuilder, and I would see him 3 days a week. Just picking things up, putting them down, what
Hmm.
have you. So I see this ad show up on my feed, and I'm like, oh, I really want to try this boot camp class. Get in the best shape of your life in 8 weeks. This whole bit. And so I decided to go, and I died. I could barely run like 2 blocks, and I thought I was in shape. That was the kicker. Um, and I have to say that even though it was extremely difficult for me, you know, to try and keep up with the other ladies, there were women that were there much older than me that were doing, I was like, what the hell? No, I'm going
Mhm.
to keep up with this woman. Like I was very competitive, to say the least. So, I did it for, you know, I did the challenge and I fell in love. I said to my husband, this is what I want to do. I don't want to
Mhm.
go back to the gym anymore, you know, to the regular gym. I was going there and it was like I wasn't getting that same satisfaction
Mhm.
of 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 that feeling of like, oh my God, I can't believe I just did what I did. You
Mhm.
know, when I was tallying up the numbers and I'm like, did I really did 100 push-ups? What?
Yeah.
Like that's outstanding, right? So that's kind of like how I fell into the whole CrossFit thing. It just kind of like, you know, it just happened. I fell in love with it.
What do you like attribute that to, that feeling? As so, like, I kind of understand maybe where you're coming from, because so like I come from an athletic background, and while right now, you know, and probably for the foreseeable future, I'm just, you know, going to the gym, lifting weights, trying to stay in shape. But in the past, I was competitive in a lot of like combat sports and things of that nature. And like I get a different satisfaction from being competitive in like wrestling or like Muay Thai or something like that than I do from like just lifting weights. And while I enjoy lifting weights and like the accomplishment is a little different, you know. And
Hmm.
you know, not to say that people that like they only lift weights like I do now is there's no accomplishment. There obviously is, but there's something like a little different about having like an achievement like of a certain number or a certain amount of wins or a certain amount, like there's you know, a type of,
Then you quantify it, right?
right, you can
Hmm.
quantify. So is that like kind of what do you think that is, or is there something else that you kind of like connected with when you were doing CrossFit?
I think it was the fact. So I'm 40. Okay. So
Okay.
yes, and a lot of
I would have
people,
not given you 40. Yeah.
I'm 40 years old. So a lot of people don't know that I started
Hmm.
CrossFit when I was 36. So I was in an environment, and even today I am in an environment where the majority of the people that are in my gym are in
Hmm.
their 20s, you know, maybe early 30s at best.
Sure.
Um, so it's just this feeling of accomplishment
Hmm.
that I get of like, oh my God, like I am so much older and I can do it. Like,
Right.
and I can do it and I can keep up and I feel good about it. And aside from it being competitive, it's so interesting because, you know, we are very competitive. And in our gym, we're, you know, everybody's pretty
Hmm.
competitive. You know, we're always looking at each other's numbers and seeing if you can kind of maybe try to do a little bit better.
Right.
Um, but you're always, you know, inspired by other people. And I also see that even though we are competitive, we're there to help each other.
Hmm.
So, for example, you know, if I'm trying to lift a certain amount of weight and I know my friend is can lift just as much weight as I can, or even, or maybe can go a little bit heavier, I'm going to try and go just a little bit heavier because she's
Hmm.
inspiring me, you know. But while I want to do good, I want her to do good as well.
Hmm.
You know, so it's just it's very interesting, and that's kind of like the atmosphere. You know, yeah, I want to do good, but I'm not going to do good unless you do good too, if that makes sense.
Yeah, yeah, it does. There's like a there's, even though it's kind of individual, there's still like a team mentality there.
It really, really is. You know, I'm stopping in the middle of my workout. I could barely breathe. Of course, I'm wearing this mask. That makes it even worse. You know, and I'm kind of every time I take a breath in, it's like I feel like I'm being waterboarded. You know, and I'm there, you know, trying with that with whatever little breath I have, yelling at the person, pick up the bar, you know, like, why are you standing around? You know, like yelling at them, you know, like, come on, you know what I mean? Like trying to push and encourage them, like, hey, no, snap out of it, let's go, you know,
Yeah,
kind of
yeah.
thing. So
That's
and we all do that. And I hear it, you know, I'm working out with people,
mhm.
which I love. I love that because again, it's that we're all there for one another. And I can
Mhm.
hear, come on, Carol, one more, let's go, let's go, let's go, while they're trying to do what they need to do, right?
Yeah,
So
yeah. Yeah,
it's very
there's a
good.
camaraderie there. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
For sure. That's so cool. It's interesting that you mentioned that about being waterboarded with your mask.
I
Just that
know.
I just like, so it's funny because sometimes it happens and sometimes it doesn't. And I don't know what causes it. I guess maybe when my mask gets like soaked, but like recently, like I've been picking up my cardio a little bit more. I've been trying to kind of like lose a little bit more weight and so forth, become more cardiovascular in shape. And, and so I'm, on the machines and cardio machines. And recently, like I just, every time at a certain point, I would take a breath and like the mask would just suck
Goes
into
like right into the worst, the worst, at the worst possible time,
yeah.
you know?
And I tried to deal with it and I was like, no, I have to like, so I put it down a little bit, let it breathe and I'll bring it back up. And immediately I was
It's
like,
like gets sucked
this
right
is,
back in. Oh,
this
it's
is,
horrendous.
this is ridiculous. I mean, I understand health is important. I was actually just at a store with my wife and there was a guy there and, for the majority, like our public stores and stuff like that, you have to wear a mask, to go
Sure.
in.
Here as well. Yeah.
Yeah. So, which, I don't have any problem with that. It is, this policy, that's policy. It helps keep people safe. And there was a guy there and he walked in without a mask and they tried to talk to him. He didn't want to talk, he didn't want to do it. They called the police. The police tried. I'm like,
Oh,
I
just
was
put it
like,
on.
just put it on. Even if you don't agree with it, it's policy. It's kind of like,
It is
it's
what it is.
there's a lot of things you might not agree with, but it's like either don't shop there or put it on.
Yeah.
It's one of those.
I absolutely agree with you on that. And in our gym, it's the same thing. There's some members that, unfortunately they don't agree with it, and I totally understand,
Mhm.
and then but they're doing it.
Right.
I think it's almost like you kind of get used to it a little bit.
Yeah.
When we weren't open, we were allowed to work out outside, but we
Hmm.
couldn't use the inside of the facility. So we were holding a lot of our classes outdoors. All the classes were held outdoors.
Hmm.
I have to tell you, I died this summer, even though I had like the best tan I've ever had in my life. I've never in my life had such an amazing tan. That's the only thing I appreciated from that because it was horrible.
Hmm.
Horrible working out midday. I mean, I felt like my feet were gonna catch fire. Like literally,
Is
I
that
felt
hot?
like it was that hot. And touching our medicine balls, I'm
Hmm.
like, you're gonna get like third-degree burn.
Oh yeah, yeah. I could
Like
only
it was
imagine.
awful. Like I would choose over 100 times working out with a mask inside than working out outdoors in that heat.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
I would tell people that would come to my midday class, listen, if you start to feel any kind of way, just stop. Just
Right.
stop. I was running inside getting water bottles for people,
Hmm.
getting ice packs to put them
Hmm.
on the back of their necks. Like I didn't know what else to do. And I was said, just stop, because
Hmm.
I knew what they were feeling because I had done the workout previously, before they got there. So um again, I would rather work out with that mask.
Yeah, I'm sure dehydration is an issue, like huge issue when you're working out in that kind of heat, I mean, you get
Yeah,
dehydrated just in normal circumstances, right? But then
sure.
if you're like outside under that kind of heat, like you lose water a lot faster, so
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
that could be a problem. So I saw some of your posts and they were outside. So are your majority of
Mhm.
your classes now inside or are they outside? Like,
Yeah, we were doing a combination of
mhm,
of that before it started to get really cold. We had some beautiful weather in November where it was in the 70s, so we really
mhm,
took advantage of the, hey, we're hosting the classes outdoors.
yeah,
But in the beginning, once the governor allowed us to open, they allowed us to open up, I think it was like 25%
mhm,
capacity. And that's like having, I believe it was like 40 or 50 people would be the max for the size of my gym,
mhm,
depending on the occupancy
right,
max. And we only have up to 20 people at most. And that's including the coaches and somebody
right.
that's walking in waiting for the next class, but, we cap it at 14 people per
Oh,
class.
you do. You capped it at
Just
14.
to, yeah, even though we don't have to, but it's just to be safe, right? Rather be
Yeah.
safe than sorry, but
Oh, for
we
sure.
do have.
Have you like have you taken a hit from this or you feel like you've actually thrived in this kind of environment?
I wouldn't say thrive. I'd say we've been able to stay stable.
Mhm.
So I cannot say, and I mean, I can't say it enough. The people that we have in our gym, they're not just some, members, just the
Right.
clients,
Right.
or customers, as some would say. We're literally, I consider them family.
Hmm.
And I say that because when, when times are good, times are good. And when times are rough, it really shows who people are. And I have to say that I wouldn't even be here having this conversation with you if it wasn't for them.
Mm-hmm.
Because even though we were closed all these months, these people stood with us. They didn't freeze their accounts, and mainly our founding members. We have the founding 50. They are the original
Mm-hmm.
members of our gym, and yeah, we call
Yeah,
them the OGs.
yeah, yeah.
They were our
Founding
members
50.
before we even opened.
That's funny,
you
but
know,
that's great. I mean, like that kind of loyalty is hard to come by, especially in gyms when people jump gyms all the time. It's
all the time, and they stuck by us, and because of them, we had a place to go back to.
yeah,
Because of them, and can't ever repay that back.
yeah.
So I don't want to say that we thrived. I think that we were able to stay in business and able to, because of them.
Hmm.
And
What do
that's really what it comes down to.
what do you contribute that to, like as far as your founding 50 that you said, and just like why are people willing to not freeze their accounts to stick with you, like, well, or with you and your partner, just like
Mhm.
what kind of, I guess, environment do you guys have in that gym that people are willing to do that? Because like I said, not a lot of, like personally, like I love my gym, but I'm not going to not freeze my account,
You can,
if
it's
they go out of business. So like what kind of environment do you guys, have there you can attribute that to?
I like a family environment,
Hmm.
and also, whenever I feel like we're very selfless, as well. Whatever we get in, we give right back. You know
Hmm.
what I mean? To the gym. In terms of equipment, whatever we can do, um, it's always with keeping them in mind, our
Right.
members in mind.
Gotcha.
Um, and one thing that I have to say that, yes, I own the gym, you know, but I always say I am a member here. I'm an owner. I am a member here. When I meet new people that come to the gym, I don't say, "Oh, hi, I'm Carol. I'm the owner here." No, hi, I'm Carol. Nice to meet you. I had a coach a morning class, which I've been doing lately. 5:30 a.m. I'm had to get up at 4.
5:30. Oh,
I know. And what the crazy, so I have my youngest daughter who's gonna be 10 in December.
oh
She
wow.
has
Okay.
she has autism and ADHD.
Okay.
And sometimes she'll get up in the middle of the night and she is up, you know.
Hmm.
She is up and she won't go back to sleep until 6 a.m. and then wakes up at 7.
Wow.
But
Yeah.
so I've been having to get up in the morning, which is not a bad thing. I'm actually kind of used to it and I look forward to it. So the first time I did it, I walk in and I barely knew anybody. Believe it or not, I knew like 2 people in that
That's
5:30
funny.
class. And they're like, "Oh, are you a new coach?" And I'm like, "I am your new coach."
Yeah. I'm not new. I'm just new for you.
I'm just
Like
your new
this.
coach. Yes, yes. So that was pretty cool.
Yeah.
But I have to say that, we always, they come first. So
Yeah.
I always think of when, and both me and Robin. So
Hmm.
Robin's my partner's name. He's
Gotcha.
actually,
Okay.
yeah, he was able to accomplish some huge, huge stuff this year, and unfortunately, all went because of the pandemic.
Oh man.
Yeah, he
I
was,
hate to I hate to hear stuff like that. I hate to hear it because it's like
no,
people put in so much work, and I know it's unforeseen circumstances, but it just sucks,
yeah, it really, really does. And we both have the same views. We look at we're members. So I think when I think of stuff, I think of as a member. I don't look at
Mhm.
it as I'm an owner, or I look at it as a member. How would I
Yeah.
feel? So I think that also plays a lot into it. And he does the same thing.
Yeah. Well, obviously, whatever you're doing is working, and more power to you. That's, I'm sure all your members appreciate that. Unfortunately, very far away from me, so but I would love to sign up.
I'd love to have you, Adam.
I was interested, like, to know how your energy level was going to be this late, because especially that you're saying that you're waking up at 5:30, but like you're more energetic than I am, and you're an hour ahead of me, so.
But this is me all the time.
Mhm.
all the
You,
time.
it's funny. A lot of CrossFit coaches that I've come across, and I don't do CrossFit, but just the ones that I've seen or that I've just crossed paths with, they all seem to be very like energetic. It almost like takes that kind of personality. So like, tell me like kind of so CrossFit, we all kind of have an idea of what it is, right? Like, what is it essentially like based around? Is it just stationary workouts? Is it particular like lifts? Like, what is it? If you had to describe what CrossFit was, like, how would you describe it?
I would say it's mixed, right? You have Olympic lifting,
Hmm.
like powerlifting and stuff like that.
Hmm.
You have the Olympic lifting, the gymnastics portion of it, and then you have like the conditioning part of it,
Hmm.
like running and stuff like that. So it's like a mixture of all. So you kind of like put it together and you mash it all. There's a swimming involved. I mean, it's there's so many different things that make it CrossFit. Is
Hmm.
exactly what it is. You're fit in all different kinds of levels, if that makes sense.
I see. Like
Yeah.
almost like across the board. You're kind of
Right. Yeah.
fit.
Kind of like, for a little bit of here, a little bit of this, and a little bit of that, and a little bit
Right.
of this.
So the focus is not so much on the way you look, although a lot of the CrossFit, people that I see are very fit and look great, but it's more about like efficiency of like the movements and the
Hmm.
achievements with like performance, I guess you could
Yeah,
say. Okay.
sure. Yeah.
Okay. Interesting. Yeah. So there was one time I went on vacation to Pensacola, and it was interesting because as I'm like walking across, people are like, "Are you here for the competition?" And I'm like, "No. What are you talking about?" And they're like, "Oh, well, we just thought because I'm okay build, I guess," and they thought that I was there like for like a CrossFit competition. So I walked across some area there, and there was huge CrossFit competition in Pensacola. It was a few years back. So do you guys like get involved in that? Like, do you have people
All the
compete in that?
time. Oh yeah. We actually had a competition in September scheduled in our gym. And
Oh,
of course, fortunately we had to cancel it. And
yeah.
it was in March originally. And then we had to,
Like
cancel it. We
last
had to
month,
shut it.
like last March.
Hmm. Yeah,
Okay,
this
yeah. Well,
March. Yeah,
that's when it just started. That's when
just when
everything
it
kind of,
started. Yeah, and
yeah,
everybody was asking, "Are you guys closing? Are you guys closing?" I said, "Listen, I am not closing these doors until the governor says you got to close these doors,"
yeah.
because the majority of the people in our gym are like myself.
Hmm.
We need it. It's like you need to work out and just like, if for that hour that you're there, the only thing that matters is what you're doing at that moment.
Yeah.
And it's so important, like, for your mental health, not just everything else, but just mentally, it's so important to have that part of your day, for a lot of us. So I would say that, I'm like, if I'm not shutting these doors unless the governor says I got to shut the doors. So let's not even talk about this. I literally cried when I closed my doors.
Oh
I
man.
literally turned off the light and I started crying
Mm.
because I knew that what I was feeling, everybody else was going to be
Yeah.
feeling as well. And if I was feeling so upset about it, and they're so upset about it, and there's nothing I can do, it just made it just 10 times worse. But yeah, our gym actually, we're very competitive.
Hmm.
A lot of the members in our gym, we love doing competitions. There's always,
Hmm.
little competitions that are being held by different gyms in our
Hmm.
state and even out of state in the tri-state area. Which brings me back to Robin, my partner.
Hmm.
He was to compete in the CrossFit Games this year, representing the Philippines.
Oh wow. Okay.
Yeah, this was
That
like
would have been
so
that would have been
huge.
super exciting. Yeah.
Super excited. We were all like, everybody. I can't tell you, it might have been like half of the gym
Hmm.
was like, we're all going to Madison. We're all going to support you.
Hmm.
It was going to be amazing. And it was, like I said, it was going to be such a huge accomplishment for him, and we were so excited. And unfortunately, things happened, and, they didn't allow, the competitors that were from different countries that got in through the open, is what it's called, where they allow people from different countries to participate. And if you rank number one in your country, you go to the CrossFit Games. Um, so
So wait a minute.
unfortunately,
So explain to me how that works. So they didn't allow. So they had the games, but they
yeah,
didn't allow people from another country to be able to come into.
they would not allow.
So,
So if
so
you
the
got
only
into
people
the
that
CrossFit
compete would
game,
be people in the United States?
well, the majority of them were, yeah. So the way that it
Hmm.
worked, if you got in through like a sanctional event, which is,
Hmm.
so an event that was being held in a different country, um, and you got in through that event, like you won that
Hmm.
sanctional event,
Yeah.
you now you can go to the CrossFit Games.
Right.
The way he got in is what we call the CrossFit Open. So it's called the Open because it's open to everybody in the
Hmm.
world.
Right.
So they have one workout for a certain amount of weeks that comes out every single Friday. I think it's like 5 weeks. It comes out every Friday, and every single CrossFit gym in the world does this one workout on a Friday. You have from Friday till Monday, and then you put in your scores. And then, I mean, you're scoring yourself with everybody in the whole world. So you can kind of see, where you are, which is, I think, is awesome because then you can kind of see, what your fitness level is compared to
Hmm.
everybody else in the whole world.
Right.
So what they started to allow the year before last was people to represent their country. So let's say if like a Robin, for example,
Hmm.
he's a Filipino American
Right.
and he has a dual citizenship in the Philippines.
Okay.
He can, because he has a dual citizenship in the Philippines, he can participate in the Open as a Filipino citizen. Hope I'm saying that right.
Yeah, I mean, well, yeah, I don't know if you're saying it right, but it makes sense. I know what you're trying to get at.
Yeah. So he's participating as a
Uh-huh.
Filipino citizen.
Uh-huh.
So if he's the first, in his country, which there was a little bit of competition over there,
Right.
he if he wins, if he's number one in his country, he gets to go to the CrossFit game representing that country. And that's how
Right.
it works for everybody all around the world.
Gotcha.
Um, yeah.
So
So
he
that's how
ended up winning or doing well in
he
that.
ended up, he ended up coming in first
Okay.
and, and
And how does
representing his
that
country.
was it through videos? How would they do it?
Yeah, so we had to record. I had to get a certification, to be a
Hmm.
judge, to
I
judge
see.
him. And the worst part of it is that my counting, like if for 1 second, for 1 second I think about something else, I'm like, oh shit, where am I? Where was I? Oh my God,
That's
so
because you're
having
waking up at 5:30 in the morning.
no, I wasn't back then though. There's no excuse.
Gotcha.
There's no excuse for that. And if I for 1 second again think about something else other than what I was just thinking about, it's over. It's over. Where
Oh,
am
that's
I?
that's
So
too funny.
I was like so nervous every single time and so like laser focused on him.
Hmm.
I have to tell you, I would be sweating there just counting.
Mm. That's
But
so all that hard work, all that, that training, him winning, and now he's not even able to attend. That seems, but then others, and he was in the States, right? Correct. Like, so
yeah,
when he did this,
yeah. He was
I,
in our gym.
I'm still like puzzled because I don't understand. If he's in the States, the
Hmm.
competition, the CrossFit Games are in the States. He doesn't have to cross any, country lines or anything like that. Like, why can't he compete? I don't like. It doesn't make sense to me. Were you guys puzzled with that kind of decision?
Well, no, because they limited to a certain amount of people. So
Oh,
they
okay.
said we can only accept X amount of people. And if you got in, through winning the CrossFit Open representing another country, you cannot participate in the games.
Okay, so they just blanket
Yeah.
statement just said that everybody
Yeah.
done this like couldn't compete.
Right. Couldn't participate. Yeah. Because they
Gotcha.
had to minimize the amount of people that they were going to allow to do the games. So
Hmm.
then they started to do, a lot of they did it online. Like the first part of the games was online.
Hmm.
And everybody did it in their own gym. And, they were live and everything, but it wasn't the same, you
Right.
know?
Yeah.
And then the second part of it, it's like the five fittest of men and women. I mean, they didn't even do teams or anything like that, which they normally do.
Uh-huh.
Those people were the ones that got to go to the ranch in California where they originated the CrossFit Games.
Mhm, mhm.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's I feel terrible for him. Like just you telling that story, like that's
I know.
such a hit, to the heart. That's
Yeah, and it's such a huge achievement for him,
mhm.
and it was so unfortunate. So we all felt it.
Yeah. Is he
We
gonna
all
try
felt it
to
for him.
Is he gonna try to do it in, like, next year, I guess?
Oh
We'll see
yeah, we stood
what
there.
happens.
The games are gonna, the open starts again in March of next year. So
Gotcha.
we'll see what
Gotcha.
happens.
Yeah, like with all the cases rising and everything, it's hard to say. Like, what I did a show earlier today, before you, with a girl from uh, IBB, fitness competitor
Mm,
from UK, and they're on complete lockdown. With like everything just basically not leaving it, only to get like groceries and stuff like that. So supposedly it's going to end in December 2nd, but who knows? I mean, they might extend that. So everybody's just
yeah.
going through this bob and weave and see like what's happening. Okay, well, they're allowing this, let's do that. Oh, well, they're not allowing this, so we have to figure out how to get around it. It's a tough situation. They're saying that there's going to be a vaccine. Have you heard about that?
Yeah, yeah, actually it was on the news earlier saying that 95% effective,
Mm-hmm.
Pfizer's saying, and
Yeah,
Moderna is
Pfizer. Yeah,
another one. Yeah, they're saying there should be out. They're just waiting for the FDA to approve it at
yeah,
this point, which could take a few days or so, which I
sure.
think is unbelievable.
Yeah, it's interesting, definitely interesting. So are you guys planning to have like any kind of competitions, like soon in the future, like with your gym or anything like that? Have you thought about that?
Yeah. Oh, of course. Yeah, we're thinking about moving the our competition that was supposed to be in March, that
Hmm.
went to September. I think we're now moving it to April.
Gotcha, gotcha. So that's quite a few months. Yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
yeah.
that's all right. It
And
gives people to train. Gives people time to train for it.
indeed,
So
indeed. And I love competing. Oh my gosh, I
yeah,
love it. I absolutely love competing.
yeah.
And I think, and it's like, it's so interesting to me because, you have to get there like at, 7 o'clock is athlete registration.
Hmm.
And but I've never done a solo competition where I'm competing by myself. I
Okay,
always do it with a partner, or it's like teams.
gotcha.
And I love that because it kind of holds you accountable. And
Hmm.
even though like I push myself, and I push myself to as far as I can go, but or as far as I think I can go anyway.
Yeah.
Um, but when you have a partner, or you're doing, a team competition, you know, my partner is waiting for me. If
Hmm.
I'm doing something, in the back of my mind, I need to go. My partner's waiting for me. He's waiting for me, or she's waiting for me. Like I need to go. So it holds you accountable. A little bit more pressure.
Yeah.
I guess I'm a masochist. I don't know. Because at the same time that I have like this headache, like this dull headache the entire day
Uh-huh.
from having like, this like all this adrenaline all the time, from
Hmm.
6 o'clock in the morning, all the way to 4 o'clock.
Yeah. Yeah, I bet you burn a lot of calories with all your classes and all the, training that you do. You probably
You know
just
what? And you know what's interesting, Adam? And I get this a lot. So people are always like, you work out all day.
Mhm.
No, actually, I don't. I work out 1 hour a day. I lift for half of the hour, and
Uh-huh.
then I work out for the other half of the hour, do the conditioning
Mhm.
training. But no, I don't work out all day.
Okay. Yeah. So
I do that,
yeah, I
you
thought
know?
so. You told me something new, because I thought that like you were, your schedule got filled up with classes for the entire. So you just have like a class in the morning, and then I guess you do some other errands and some kind of, I'm sure, like some kind of administrative logistical things, and then you have another class later. Is that kind of how it works?
Well, so our schedule, we have other coaches in our gym as well,
Hmm.
and obviously Robin and I are always, trying to, accommodate one another.
Hmm.
But through the midday, like that's like my time to work. Like I work out at
Gotcha.
11 o'clock, and which is during an open gym hour, which anybody can come at that time to work out. Members,
Hmm.
that is, can come,
Right. Right. Right.
work out. And then we have a class at 12:30. And then after that, I come home after that 12:30 class. Like I do run errands, and then I come home, and then my youngest daughter, who's 10, she has school. Well, try to, so
Hmm.
she's on the computer, now thank goodness she's able to sit and, and kind of
Right.
deal with the whole virtual thing. She was having a very difficult time with that
I'm
in the
sure.
beginning.
Yeah.
She couldn't even look at her teacher on the screen. It was quite difficult for her.
Yeah.
And I guess it was just a sensory thing. There's a lot going on with the computer, and I think that if it wasn't a game and it's like seeing somebody there was like a little bit too much for her.
Right.
But so we're good now, where she can sit down for a little bit longer than she used to, which was 2 minutes, by the way. It was 2 minutes. It was like, all right, we gotta go. But so I'm doing that with her, and then I go back to the gym to teach a 5:15 class. So by the time I get home, it's like maybe 6:45 or something like that. And then I'm walking in literally and cooking dinner, and then, doing laundry and feeding my daughter. And it's like, it's just a lot
A
going
lot
on,
going on. Yeah. So
Yeah,
you said it's your youngest daughter. You have another daughter as well?
I do, who's 20 years old. She's going to
Okay.
be 21 in January. I'm old, Adam.
She can legally drink now.
Seriously. Or she can go buy alcohol. My husband's
Right.
like, look, when you turn 21, now you can leave and buy us alcohol. Like, now you can go get alcohol. And I don't drink. I actually used to drink a lot with him. And we started this challenge. This is before we opened up our gym in the gym that I used to go to before they closed down, Robin and I. And it was this macro challenge, count your macros. And
Sure.
when I was counting my macros, it was like, oh my goodness, this liquor's fucking killing me.
Oh yeah, it's like it's taking a huge toll. Like I had the same thing when I was like when I was looking into like how I can, lose more weight. I realized, oh, like a big problem is the fact that, even though I might not be drinking like a lot in one setting, like if you drink, like a few days a week, that's even just a little bit of whiskey or a little bit of whatever,
Hmm.
that's a lot of calories in that, just a little bit of volume of, alcohol. So
Yes, I need to eat.
yeah,
I'd rather eat.
it's tough. So how and I know like I do want to wind this down because I know your husband needs that space, and then
No, he's done with the space. And
I get you.
yeah, no, we have to eat dinner now. He's like,
Okay,
did you finish cooking dinner? I was like, I was waiting for you. I was like, no,
got
actually, didn't even start. I cooked for Deanna and I fed her already.
gotcha. So hey, I really appreciate your time. Like that, thank you so much for coming on, explaining like what you do, your passion that you have for athletics and fitness and CrossFit. I'm sure people love to hear this. So one question I had, do you do any like online coaching or anything like that? Or is it everything you do is through your gym?
I don't do online coaching.
Okay.
I don't have the time to,
Gotcha.
unfortunately.
Gotcha.
And I get so many questions on them. I get asked that all the time. Like, people asking me for help, or, they
Mhm.
want me to train them, but I can't.
Yeah, no time.
I really, really, and I feel awful. And I let them know that. And what I actually do, if like I've actually done this for two people only. um and one of them, she's already had like a CrossFit background,
Mhm.
which is awesome because it helps me, right? So I can help you, while I'm doing my thing. Like I can just send you, hey, this is, keep this in mind or whatever,
Mhm.
or help her with, with her form, or, just give her little tidbits here and there, and just, giving her the
Sure.
workouts that actually Robin programs, she's doing what I'm doing. I said, you want to do what I do? Because you can do that. And
Mhm.
I'll, if I have to modify something for her, I'll modify it for her. I do that, and I would never charge anybody for something like that. I don't feel
Gotcha.
like I just say would never.
Yeah.
You're asking
Just
me for help. I'm not going to charge you for you asking me for to help you.
right. Well, that's good out of the goodness of your heart. There's a lot of people that wouldn't offer that for free. So again, thank you so much. I'll let you go eat dinner before we get off. Like, if somebody wanted to go to your gym or like contact you as far as like, where your gym is, how they can, be a part of that, be a member, like, can you give us the name, where it's located? If they want to reach out to you, like, how can they reach out to you? And I will tag everything. But just if you can verbally, kind of give some plugs.
Sure, sure. Our gym is called Empire Fitness, CrossFit Elmwood Park. We're located in Elmwood Park, New Jersey, 15 Wallace Street, that is, in Elmwood Park, New Jersey.
All right. Awesome.
You can email me at carol@empirefitnessnj.com. They can reach me on my Instagram. I respond to everybody.
Yep.
Everybody,
I can attest to
unless,
that.
yeah, I respond to everyone. I'll look and, do a little research, but I respond to everyone. You know,
Gotcha.
I do my best to always do that, except for some weird people, but
Yeah, there's always those. There's always those on Instagram. So
yeah, yeah, but that's the way they can reach me. But I'm always more than happy to help anybody.
all right. Well, thank you for your time again, as always. It's great to speak with you. And
Likewise,
again,
Adam.
I appreciate it. You have a good night. Okay.
Thank you for having me.
Sounds good.
Good
Take care.
night.